Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, the winners and losers of the offseason, the most improved, the least improved. We're talking all about it. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Thank you very much for joining today. It's brought to you by SeatGeek. And if you've been enjoying our run here of an episode a day every day until opening day, thank you very much. Subscribe to the channel because it is still going as spring training rolls on. There's still some more moves that need to be made. Some teams can still improve. But right now, we're going to cut it. Unless someone signs during the episode. That'd be wild. And we're going to let you know who improved the most and who improved the least. And that's the episode. Trev, you excited?
I'm very excited. There are still some big names out there, which is crazy because we're like, deep into spring training now. But, there were some teams that really went after it this offseason. There were some teams that kind of stood pat. But I think all in all, this is going to be a good ep. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I think I have some takes here that are going to be possibly a little controversial, but that's what I do. I'm a hot take guy. Me, Stephen A. Smith. Jake, what's up?
Trev, James, Davis. A little jealous of Trevi right now. He's in probably my favorite ski place in the well, I don't know about the world, in the U.S. So while I was skiing on ice in the Northeast this weekend, I was like, God damn it, Trev, have fun out there. And yeah, man, I've been kind of juicy-loosey. The city hit 50 degrees this week. There's baseball on the TV screens. Like, it's go time. We're going to wake up tomorrow, and you're going to be live streaming with us at 6 a.m. for that Korea game on March 20th. So get ready. Jim?
I'm excited for the weather, although I haven't been, enjoying it that much. And for the baseball, I'm very excited. I've been outside that much during the nice day times of the weather. I did go to an Italian restaurant last night, Fanny's in Bloomfield.
Ooh.
And
What'd you get?
Everything. They kind of hooked us up. Their listeners are enjoyers of the content, the owners, and they
Let me guess, two guys that own it named Joe and Anthony.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Joe and Anthony brothers own an Italian restaurant together. It's like that's America. That's Italian America right there.
Joey's.
Oh, man, I haven't overeaten like that in a long time, though. I used to as a young 20-year-old. That was every meal. So last night I was laying in bed but it's so good. A lot of stuff that I can't really pronounce without looking at the menu because it was fresh pasta and appetizers and desserts. It was delicious. So I'm reeling off that. It was really good. And I'm excited to talk ball and hurt some people's feelings because they going to get upset. And
Okay.
lift some people up.
Yeah, some people will be happy, I think.
Yeah.
You guys get to talk about the Yankees on this episode, and no one can fault you for it. So I think that's a win for you guys. And my Twins.
Interesting.
Let's start it off.
Start off. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start most improved? I know you have one, Trev. I have one. There's a team that jumps out to me that as I, continued looking and reading, I was like, oh, I like that. The improvements they made a ton.
Okay.
So do you want me to just start us
Kick
off?
it off, Jim, because you like the phrase most improved, not necessarily won the offseason or anything like that, but the most improved.
Yeah, and it's also not rankings, best team going next year, because from the roster you ended with versus what you have now, or what you did last year now, you improved. Your D-backs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I really like what they did. A couple moves, but
Spit on me.
I really like it. If you want to remember what they did, they brought in Eugenio Suarez to play third base, Jock Peterson to DH, and Erod to join the rotation. All of those guys were positive F4 players last year. They didn't lose that much. They lost our dude, Evan Longoria. Bless his heart. Love him so much.
Leadership.
Yeah. But the more I was digging into, they needed third base and DH, I was looking at last year. If you sort by OPS positionally, Arizona was all over the board. They had some good positions, some mediocre, but they had two. They were the bottom 4, so they were 27th out of 30th at 2 positions when it comes to OPS, third base and DH. And then when you go look at the game logs for those positions, at DH, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Played 50 games. Pavin Smith played 30. Tommy Pham they brought over. He played 24. Longoria played 25. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of decision-making and trying to ride hot hands, find flow, move around a lot, dance into it and out of it. You look at third base, the most games by a third baseman was 59, Emmanuel Rivera, and then Josh Rojas, 45. Well, Suarez played 162 last year. And Jock Peterson played 121. So just kind of the ease of management there and knowing your guys and like the steadiness already. And then you look at the stats, the San Francisco Giants at the DH level, at DH, which obviously Jock wasn't all of the games, but he was a good chunk. They ranked 11th. So you're jumping up last year. You were 27th, and now you traded for a guy who was a big part of the 11th best at OPS. That's a big upgrade. And then with Suarez, like he wasn't above average, but he played every game, and he was they were 20th in OPS. But Suarez, he also had a weird year and didn't like it in Seattle. But I just like the needs were like not only like lightly filled, they were like clogged now. And I like that for our guy Torrey and decision making. And then Erod helping in the rotation is good because they have front-end guys. And if Erod can just give him innings and relieve the pen and be steady in what he's done, like I don't need him to be even a 3 or 4. Like just, hey, be an everyday guy that gets you into the 6th inning, and that's going to help everyone out. So I really like what they did.
I thought we were going to save that one for Jake because I know he was looking at them snakes licking his chops. But I agree with you, James. There were some clear needs for this team, and they clearly filled them. I love when they brought Eugenio Suarez over. We all talked about like this. What's Seattle doing? Like that's a guy that's going to pump you 30 homers. Sure, he's not. He's going to strike out some, and they're trying to get away from that in Seattle. But he's an offensive threat. And you mentioned, they were barren there at third base. Love you, Longo, but they just didn't get it done last year. And now they're bringing a guy over that can get it done. I believe Grichuk is there as well, so him and Jock can platoon there. Depending on the matchup. I think the biggest thing for them too was we talked all last year. Oh, they don't have enough starting pitching. They don't have enough starting pitching. Well, they have their 2 guys, Merrill and Gallen, and then Fott showed up in the playoffs. So you're banking on him. You bring in Erod now. It's like now you have a staff. Like that's something that we couldn't fathom at the beginning of last year, and now I think it's one of their strong points of their team is their starting rotation, which is awesome. So I agree with you. I love the Snakes offseason, and it's going to be interesting to see them go up against the Dodgers, who I'm sure we'll talk about briefly or shortly this year. I think, they took it to them in the playoffs, and now they get to do it for 162. It's going to be fun.
Jim, you're a big decision fatigue guy. Why bother?
Yeah.
And what you just laid out for the Snakes is there. Like, hey, if there's a lefty on the bump for the other team, you know what? Grichuk, get in there. Jock, you're out. Let's roll it out there. Maybe we'll get Alek Thomas out of the lineup if we need to. Everything's set. So I think for this team, and obviously as we start getting into baseball season, you can literally say this for any team. If when the injury bug kicks in, like, that changes every team's outlook. But this team has, like, Corbin, you're the star. Go up there. Cattell, you're kind of the 2-man. Like if Corbin's not hot from 3 one night, we're going to give you the rock and go get it. Christian Walker at first base, and everything else just fits. Like, Eugenio Suarez is a perfect example. If he's coming into the season as your 3-hole hitter, you might be a little nervous. Like, Eugenio's had some high highs and some low lows. Eugenio Suarez as your 6 hitter, you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I like the Snakes, too.
I think we have to just say, like, congratulations, Dodgers. Like, you're also one of the most improved teams. We don't have to really get into it. You get Shohei, you get Yamamoto, you get Glass now. I mean, like, it doesn't stop. Teoscar. So, I think congratulations.
They did
Dodgers.
lose Johnny
really
DeLuca.
Your guy.
Yeah. The Rays now. Better opportunity.
Paxton comes.
Yeah. So, congratulations. That's not my team, though.
What are you seeing, Trev?
So just to let Dodgers, like we all agreed, kind of Dodgers are one of, if not the most improved team, but it's a little bit of a boring stock answer.
In theory, they're the most improved team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm half taking them.
Okay. All right. And if none of us took them, I wanted to make sure.
I'm going to combine two.
I think we kind of all half took them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
they're there.
Okay.
Great job, guys. Way to go. How much did they spend? $1.2 billion. I like that.
Shohei's only getting 2.
Yeah.
Only $2 million this year. That's incredible. I keep forgetting about that.
Yesterday.
I interpreted this discussion a little bit differently than James. James wanted to go okay. I'm going to go a little off the wall here, and bear with me. And basically, it's because I read an article that had one sentence in it that just got my juices flowing. Okay, I'm going to go with the Houston Astros. And you're like, Trev, what did they do? Well, they didn't need anything, right? Like, this is a team that's gone to 7 straight ALCSs. And here's the line. They're a postseason team that needs postseason toys. And Josh Hader is the perfect example of the genre. That's excellent writing, and it's true. Like, this team is so scary already. They had some guys take a step back last year in the starting rotation, right? I think you could bank on them coming back and doing it. The lineup is almost perfect. What they have on the field, like, decision fatigue never comes into play there because they don't need to make any decisions. You just run that lineup out there day after day. And now in the bullpen, you move arguably like one of, if not the best closers in the game to your setup guy because you bring in Josh Hader. When you get to the postseason, like they're going to do, like they're going to be in the ALCS, and now all of a sudden you have a new weapon in the back end of your bullpen. Like, that's just, they didn't need to go out and do this, but they did it, man. They signed him to the second largest contract ever for a reliever to make their team just that much better. And that's where they're at as a franchise. So I just love that they didn't stand pat and say, we're already there. We're already doing it. It's just luck in the postseason. Once you get there, things happen. No, bullshit. They understand what needs to be done, and they went out and got this guy. And now, like, they could shorten games. Like, I'm curious to see how they use Presley. Is he going to just be in the 8th inning now? Could he come in earlier in the game? Like, there's a lot of things that we'll have to see how that plays out in their bullpen. But bringing in a guy like Josh Hader to a team that's already is what they are, I just love the move, man. So I'm giving them my pick for most improved.
It's the fun part of this exercise because if Josh Hader and incoming White Sox shrapnel, if Josh Hader signed with the White Sox, we'd be like, all right, hey, maybe in 2 years he's still on the back end. Like the Houston Astros, I haven't heard us say it in a while because normally we say it around midseason. The 7 straight ALCSs, man, that's a dick punch. That Josh Hader for them is a really significant move, and that's, you mentioned Presley, like he's been nails. Abreu was one of the best relievers last year, and that's like, if Rafael Montero clicks, it's ignoring that their lineup and rotation and everything gets them to the postseason every year. So I like that. Pretty cool party trick in Houston. And him and Presley in the uniforms, they kind of got a good Houston back-end look to them. Righty, lefty.
Do you think they will interchange, like, say, here, talk about decisions, right? You're getting to the postseason, and now you're facing a lineup, and maybe they got all righties coming up in the 9th, like the middle of their orders, right-handed heavy. Do they switch and have Hader throw the 8th, and all of a sudden Presley's throwing the 9th? Like, I don't know Hader splits right off the top of my head. I'm sure they're not that
Hader
crazy.
Wants to close.
Like, is he only going to – it's going to be fun to watch how they handle this situation because you have 2 of the best in the game.
Hader last year was actually better versus righties. 147 batting average, 488 OPS.
Jeez.
And I think there were some Presley quotes too that was like, yeah, I'm going to be cool. So, I don't know. I like monitoring it, but I think it's one of those, like, when the Red Sox closed the World Series with Snell and everyone's like, that's actually kind of pimp because, like, he's the guy. Hader's the guy.
He's the guy.
Yeah, and before we move off the Astros, I mean, they also have addition by subtraction or addition from within with getting Jeimer all the starts, the catching position. So that is an improvement that he's your starter over what they had last year. They could have done that last year. So it's a little bit of a weird dance, but they did upgrade at that position, even though it's from within. Also, McCormick, I don't know. He missed time because he was hurt, and then he did play a lot, but they seemed to always sit him, and people were mad about that, like 1 day a week. Maybe he gets more run this time around. At the end of the year, he played all of September, so that was a weird one.
Yeah, and they signed Altuve to a lifelong deal, essentially. Like, things are good in Houston now.
When Dusty debagged Chas McCormick,
he buys him pudding all the time or something like that.
It's like, he's not the core. It's like, damn, that's tough, man.
He did play a ton.
He was really good. He was incredible.
There was one stretch in August where he was getting a day off every 5 days, and they were like really upset about it. But he was still playing like a lot. I don't know. But yeah, so improvement from within for those two, which is what the Twins are trying to say.
You guys know I'm a books guy. I'm always reading. Can't get me out.
That's what everyone says about you.
Just a reminder, we said at the top at SeatGeek, make sure you guys download the app. Use code Talkin, $20 off your first time using SeatGeek. Go steal everyone's emails. SeatGeek hates when I tell you that. But log in using SeatGeek. Go see Trev's Houston. Why not? You know where they're going to end up.
Yanks are there.
Might see a World Series team. Download the SeatGeek app. Code Talkin, $20 off your first purchase. I'll do a little bookend because the Dodgers do deserve a little more love here. I know, the perennial 100-game Dodgers, Freddie, Mookie, and all of that. Just want to read through it again because there's also kind of what Jimmy mentioned with Yainer Diaz. Shohei Ohtani, okay. Best player to ever play the game, cool. Yamamoto, people think for his age and a free agent pitcher and his talent, he can be special. It's a lot of eyes going to be on him early on.
Yes, I can't wait.
That's going to be some must-watch TV. And is he going to be their opening day starter? I know we were talking around the office about that. It's like him or Glass now. It's interesting, right?
First game's in Korea. That's interesting.
Oh,
weird.
James Paxton takes it because James Paxton's on this team too. And I know, again, not flashy, but when you look at the prices of pitching, his resume, and the fact that we were all surprised he got 19 starts in last year. The other Yainer Diaz thing, Gavin Lux is going to be back. Like, Gavin Lux is supposed to be a part of this core. That guy was a top 5 prospect, misses the year with a weird injury. So, and I think the other thing when we laid this all out on the sheet, you guys know where I stand with Glass now. I think his stuff is kind of unmatched in the league when he's right. They lost, and I'll just read down this list quick. Shelby Miller, Ahmed Rosario, Pepio, Johnny DeLuca, Ferguson, Almonte, Bush, Victor Gonzalez, Peralta, and JD Martinez remains unsigned. So JD Martinez mauled last year, right? And then it's like, okay, well, Shohei gets that, and he'll probably end up closing out the World Series. That the Dodgers put together kind of a legendary offseason, so I did want to hit them just again on the way by. And then, again, why I'm always talking about books with you guys. The other side of that book, the Kansas City Royals, who when we looked at their record last year, I think everyone was like, damn, it got that bad. It got that bad in Kansas City, and it sure did. So they added 2 starters, Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, 2 guys who had nice years last year. Hunter Renfroe, sure, you know what you're going to get with knockoff Trouty. And then I love what they did. We're just doing the whole bullpen. Will Smith, come on through. Chris Stratton, why not? John Schreiber, they just traded for him. Nick Anderson. And so now if we're going, we're revamping the whole bullpen. Let's see what we can do down there. We had 2 major league starting pitchers that have been at it for a little while. I mentioned Renfroe, and then like Adam Frazier. I know we're going to talk about him later, but he's going to contribute somewhere. And if you want to play the young guy card, our guy Pasquatch missed pretty much all of last season. So again, this is where most improved gets a little tricky. If these Royals find a way to bang out 76 wins this year, they'll be 20 games better. But I think the product in Kansas City, at least until the trade deadline, should be prettier.
I agree with that. I mean, the Tigers also improved as well. It's just
second place Tigers
against what, and the Twins don't think they improved.
The Twins. We're not talking about the Twins right now.
Oh, sorry.
Right? We might be talking.
Might be talking about them next.
We might be
segment.
talking about.
We
it.
might be. You're totally right.
Slipping.
Look, I'll get happy for you and your book simulation, whatever you just talked about. You've never read a book in your life. I'll talk about the Yankees.
It's been about like 7 years. The Alchemist.
Oh, I like that book.
Thank you.
The Yankees. I'll talk about them.
Oh, really?
You guys don't want to. Yeah, they had a good one. I don't know if you guys saw that. They brought over Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo. I mean, that outfield is going to be something special. I mean, putting those two guys together, Judge and Soto in the same lineup, plus Verdugo, like I'm curious to see what he's going to do in the stripes, man. I feel like a lot of times you get put in that uniform and things change. I'll say it, man, because guys say it all the time. It's a little heavier, isn't it, Jake, when you put those stripes on? So I'm curious to see what he does. I can't wait to see Marcus Stroman pitch in New York. I really can't. It's going to be great. He's gonna have the upper lip kind of curled. He's going to be freaking a menace out there. He's going to be strutting his stuff. I mean, he seems like a guy who's going to love that pressure. We'll see if he makes it through the entire season loving that pressure. I think sometimes it might get to him a little bit, but I mean, you guys really crushed it in this offseason. So I'll give you, little golf clap. Go Yankees, go. I mean, it's going to be a fun team to watch.
Do you know who the improvement versus last year is incredible? It really is one of the most. I mean, do you know who had the most starts in the 5-hole last year for the Yankees over 162?
I can't wait to hear this.
And who's going to be the 5-hole this year? Stanton or
Stanton,
Gleyber.
Stanton, Rizzo, Gleyber, yeah.
Who was it?
Harrison Bader. Most starts in the 5-hole. IKF had the most starts in the 6-hole. Now you're looking at Verdugo, Gleyber, DJ. Just it's much better. Roster sucked last year.
It's funny seeing the articles we clicked around before this. The only real plus WAR player they lost was Michael King, who spent most of the year in the bullpen. Was awesome as a starter, and he was the trade chip for Juan Soto. So there's some addition by subtraction with this team, and then there's Juan Soto and Stroman and Verdugo. So, yeah, I mean, Trev, you're going to hear about it a lot because when they rolled out their, I think it was their second spring training lineup, it was like 6 deep and Judge wasn't in the lineup, and Yankee fans were really...
I know.
Really,
and Juan Soto hit the ball off the scoreboard.
Oops.
I texted everyone. That was pretty nice.
You did. That was a nice text, Trev.
Pretty nice.
I love
that. That made Zach really happy.
He hasn't stopped talking about it.
Zach didn't wear a hat today, and he's got his sex hair going on. It's like distracting.
I love Zach.
I guess that was just
all right. That was most improved. Congratulations to the teams that we mentioned.
Uh-oh.
And now?
Least improved.
Oh. This one's tough because there's a lot of teams that didn't do anything.
Ooh, go get him, Trev.
There's a lot. I mean, hey, Marlins, I guess they made some moves, but we're probably not going to talk about you too much. TA, Nick Gordon going over there. See how that works out for them. Who wants to go first here?
Stop talking Marlins for clicks.
I'll do it because they already think I hate them, every team does, and the Blue Jays didn't improve. I still think they're a good team. I'll say that right off the bat. They have a lot of good players. But my goodness, they didn't improve. Why not? I'm more confused why not.
Well, they tried. They tried to get some of the big dogs and it didn't work out for them.
Are they going to sign Chapman? Is IKF their starting third baseman? Because then they brought in Yariel Rodriguez.
Yes.
Justin Turner. I like Justin Turner.
Yes.
And IKF. And I'm not really understanding why they didn't do more. I hope they get Chapman. They lost Matt Chapman, a 3.5 F4 player.
Yes.
And they're saying IKF's going to be their everyday third baseman, not a 3.5 WAR player. They lost Brandon Belt at DH. They replaced him with Justin Turner. Think that's interesting. Righty, lefty stuff. I don't know how much that affects the rest of their lineup. I should go check that out.
For doing war in, war out, sure.
Yeah.
Olds that can hit.
So
Old
they didn't
man can hit.
improve.
I like that.
They're still good, but they didn't improve from last year, in my opinion, unless like everyone on the roster that's still there personally improves.
That's what I think they're banking on. They're banking on Vladdy to have a huge bounce back year. They're looking for Manoah to, they have a solid rotation. When Manoah comes back to being any sort of what he was his first 2 years, that's great. So I think there's a little bit of that, like, hey, like we have the guys here. I agree with you. Like there are some moves that still can be made in bringing back your guy, Chapman, but I guess we don't know his asking price. It's got to have come down now that we've seen what Cody Bellinger signed for. Like if Boris is going to be willing to do deals like that, short opt-out deals, like anyone can go get these guys and improve their team. So, hopefully for Toronto fans that becomes the case and they go and bring Chap back because you're right. They do have a good roster, but they didn't do much or really anything this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, for a plane ride, we thought Ohtani was going to be a Blue Jay, and it was like, okay, that's the lefty they've been looking for. It's bizarre. I mean, the Yankees that don't openly talk about anything talk about the Blue Jays' top of the lineup being so righty that they're like, oh, we kind of love that for our relievers. Like that's like we just throw out Loaizaga, Clay Holmes, whichever righty's fresh, and like go get them. And I think having that mindset as an opposing team, I mean, don't get me wrong, those guys are class players. Springer, Bichette, Guerrero, Justin Turner. But yeah, just it feels off, and you wonder what else was missed. Like, is Chapman coming back? Is there what trades have been discussed? Because I love their pitching. I really do. I mean, I took their rotation. I think they've got dogs, and like if Manoah bounces back, my goodness, Tiedemann, the young lefty, he's supposed to be a guy that I wonder if they're looking to trade from that at some point, because it feels like they're missing the lefty bat. That Toronto, when this team was up and coming, was like, boy, these Jays are going to hit and hit a lot. And now the lineup for me is the weakness. Like the outfield defense is a thing. The pitching is great. After that top of the lineup that's very right-handed, it's a lot of question marks.
I'll go with mine. I'm going to stay in the AL Central for both. I'm going to give two. I will talk about my Twins a little bit. I don't think that they had a horrible offseason, but I do think there's chances for them to get better that they did not take. They lowered payroll, citing kind of like the TV deal, but the TV deal kind of got figured out and they still cut payroll. This is a team that finally won a playoff series. Finally has this core there. And like I said, they've made some moves and made some trades and all that. But I think that there was more in the tank. And I think a lot of Twins fans wanted them to, push down on the gas pedal a little bit. And the front office basically just said, no, we're not doing it. Or the ownership basically said, no, we're not doing it. So I know people in Twins territory are, not exactly stoked on the offseason. And I will say, like, you have to admit, like, it's not great for them this offseason. But my team that I'm going to pick is the Cleveland Guardians. Like, any team in the AL Central right now could go out, make themselves better, and be, like, in contention to win that division. We always talk about it. No one's running away with this division. The Twins didn't necessarily get better. The Tigers did get better, and they're kind of on the up and up. But, right now, if we had to talk about it, we're saying the Twins are going to win the AL Central. And guess what? Like, the Guardians could catch them if they made some moves, but they just haven't been able to do it. Whether that's they don't want to do it, whether they don't have, the resources from ownership to go do it. Jake, you have been in a fight with their front office for years because they can't pull the trigger. They can't find an outfielder that can bang the ball around. And they just, every single offseason, and a lot last year, we talked about too, like this team could be close to being, like a really good baseball team, but they just don't go out and make the moves. The only people they brought in this year or this offseason, Scott Barlow, great. He's going to be good in the pen for you, but that's about it. They bring in Hedges to be the catcher. You get Stephen Vogt as your manager, but what else? So this is a team that needed the like a right-handed bat, a corner outfielder, and they just didn't do any of that. So last year, 27th in OPS, 27th in runs, and they didn't do anything to improve it, man. Like you could have, there's just moves that could have been made, and they didn't do anything. And I guess Cleveland fans, let me know how you feel, but I think we're all in agreement that they're a couple moves away, and they won't do it.
Yeah, I think that you look at the Tigers and the Royals, who are improving, and you're like, how much does that get them there? And you compare them to the rest of the division where you have White Sox in their own messy situation. The Guardians just being like, hey, I think we can compete if we stay still. Like, at best, they got to our level, which I don't know if it's true, but I think that's what they think. And then the Twins saying, we're going to go with our cost-controlled rookies. We think they are just as good, if not better, than the guys we traded away, and just banking on that working, which can very well work. The Twins can be good, or they can be looking back and be like, shit.
Yeah.
We closed the gap for the Tigers and Royals by not going out and getting a frontline starter.
The Twins fans, that's what they wanted. They wanted to go out and trade for Cease. Even Corbin Burns being available for what he was available for, like that would, they have some people that are ready to help other organizations at the top of, the minor leagues that are knocking on the door. The Twins could have made these trades and they just didn't do it. But yeah, the Guardians, to me, it's I want them to be good. I want our guy Voter to have some thump in that lineup, and they just don't.
Yeah, like for the Twins, you could say we won the division, and we've got our plan. We're going. The Guard Dogs, you didn't, and you fell off pretty hard. And I know there's a ton of youth, and that's how they operate, but it just feels like they've gotten so far away because we've done this 3-4 off seasons now. Free agency, I get it. The big dogs play with the big wallets, and I don't know if that can ever be changed in baseball if we adjust CBAs the right way. In theory, we always talk about, it'd be great if those teams, when you have a window, go for it and get the payroll up to $150, and then, okay, if Cleveland's got to reset for, Pittsburgh, cycle through it. Not perfect for the sport, but it's where we're at. Like, free agency is used to, hey, we need a right-handed bat in the middle of our lineup that can play some corner outfield and play DH. Like, why weren't they in on Teoscar for a multi-year deal? Or why weren't they on Lourdes Gurriel for a multi-year deal? Even if they did something like that, we could look at this team and you'd feel a lot better. Just like, hey, you did that. You're telling the boys you're here. And I know that probably wouldn't dictate their season either way. It's going to be whether the young talent makes a leap. But it would be nice to have a little help.
JD Martinez. He's still out there. And the Twins and the Guardians are perfect trade partners. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. The division thing is always weird, but they could help each other out.
I'll go quick because I feel like it's a team that hasn't been discussed a lot this offseason, and they have been discussed a lot of off seasons previously. I'm gonna go with my Padres, and I'm sorry, Padres fans. I know you guys can be hot to trot out there, and Michael King, you won't find a better dude in his stuff. Go check some old Talkin' Yanks episodes. I said make that guy a starting pitcher. He's got the pitch mix, like he's awesome. But the price of that was Juan Soto. Like, all the graphics that are coming out these days that Juan Soto's, I think he's younger than 4 top 100 prospects. I think younger than Adley, a lot of these guys that are the new stars of the game. So Juan Soto, that's fine. But look at all of these pitchers. I mean, my Royals, Waka and Lugo, bang. Nick Martinez gets a nice little contract with Los Reds. And then Blake Snell, the Cy Young winner. So, I don't know. The Padres have kind of been off the radar, and not to give too much TPP stuff away, I don't think we've done them. I don't think we've recorded them yet, which means
we're waiting for them to do something.
Well, there's that, and they're looked at as, kind of a top half playoff-ish team. But we just talked about my Snakes that made it to the World Series. The Dodgers gone Dodgers. Giants had a very giant-y offseason. And these Padres, when you start doing the math, parts in, part out, it's kind of like, whoa. Like, where? That's a lot of innings. That's a lot of innings. And Juan Soto and even Gary Sanchez, who was, like, huge for them for stretches. So, man, I don't know.
But what I'm curious, aren't they like shedding?
They shed $80 million in payroll.
Like, I think, like, you know, their goal wasn't to improve the players. It was to it was not to get incredibly worse while shedding payroll. So I agree with you. They are one of the least improved rosters, but I think it's by design.
Yeah, but I guess I feel like it hasn't been talked about. Like, I think if you turned on MLB Network or Athletic or us, or I guess I'm making shots fired at them, it would be like, you know, those Padres, they still got a ton of talent. Like, it's Bogarts, it's Machado, the top of that lineup. They lost a lot, man, that I don't think you can currently have a conversation in them with the D-backs, and I think people are still doing that.
Well, I think
we
there's
had like
a little bit of a clause that, like, the owner was dying and he spent a ton of money to see a championship before he dies, and then he passed away, and now they're like getting out of that. But it's also awesome and respectable that he did that. So I think there's a little like touchiness caveat to like not shitting on it because those sentimental reasons that it took place.
About shitting on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, this just 2 seasons ago, last season, like, we're talking about Padres like World Series or bust type mentality there, and now we're just not. I mean, you lost arguably a top 3 hitter in baseball, you lost a Cy Young winner, and you lost Josh Hader. So, like, that's tough to make up for that. Again, some of this is by design. They were at $249 million for the payroll last year, and now they're down to 160. So you could say they did exactly what they wanted to do.
Just didn't improve the team.
Yeah.
But it sucks for Padres fans. It does.
Bummer.
All right, so that's most improved and least improved. And now we're going to move on to favorite move of the offseason. And we can kind of, I think, combine these two. Favorite or most underrated move. I think that could kind of do a little bit of both there.
I do have 2 separate ones. I'm interested to see where you guys landed. And this segment is brought to you by our JM Football Combine. Go check that out. They had the first part of it released yesterday on the JM Football channel. A lot of good John Boy Media people in there, good content. Jimmy was laughing on his couch last night. I was laughing on my couch last night. So make sure you go check that out. And if you haven't been checking out the Warehouse Game Blitzball Battle tourney that's going on, if you still haven't seen the Plouffe Bros take on the John Boy Media Bros, good game. And all of them are good games. Chris Rose and Peter Moylan are as good as it gets in the booth for what we're doing. Entertainment, even some raunchy Chris Rose came out last game. I was like, whoa.
Caught people off guard.
So make sure you guys go check that out.
He's got that in him. Chris Rose has got a little sneaky side to him. He does.
Who's blanking? Shit.
Can I get my
I feel
favorite
so
move?
bad. Who's the Pirates athletic writer that is Warehouse fan?
Nesbitt.
Steven. God damn it. Sorry, Steven. He texted me that he joined and watched with the live chat for the first time, and he was like,
it's a different experience.
Yeah, I think if people haven't done that, they don't realize that. He said, caught my first premiere. That format is cool. I was like, yeah, it's wild. Thousands of people there like shitting on us or joking or like just
so good.
Really adding to the experience.
If someone throws like a gross strikeout pitch, just seeing the chat just go off for a minute. Good times.
So check it out.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's not fun for me because I get a lot of shit talk to me in those chats.
Yeah, everyone gets their...
They treat you like you played pro ball, and they treat us like we're chunky hobbits.
I don't know.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Go on.
I want to get my move.
Great.
I do have 2. I'm not gonna lump it in. And I'm gonna take the obvious one off the board for my favorite move. Similar to what James was talking about. You know, when you have like your puzzle, and you're like, damn, I need this one piece, and then it's just like right there, and you get it, and you put it in, and then you're like, this is great, I just finished the puzzle. The Orioles going and getting Corbin Burns, that's exactly what it was. It's insane that they were able to do that. We talked about that a lot. Hey, Orioles, you need to start pitching. Then they had a couple guys really step up. Bradish steps up. He ends up getting hurt. Okay. Grace Rodriguez steps up. He's going to be a guy. They needed a front end starter still, even though those guys took steps forward, especially with Bradish getting hurt. Going down and getting Corbin Burns, I think we said on the show, like, did people not know he was available for that price? Like, every team should have been offering everything they had for this guy. I know it's going to be for 1 year, but he's a difference maker. And for them to go out, understand the assignment, see the puzzle piece, and say, oh, there it is, and just plug it right in, I thought, I don't know if there's a better move in the offseason, to be honest with you.
It's always funny when it comes to trades. It's that the other team has to want what you got, and Joey Ortiz, who the Brewers might be plugging and playing at third base, we'll see. They like his glove, and he might have the hit tool. We'll see. Dale Hall, like, he was a big-time prospect. It kind of faded off, and then he showed it in the bullpen that I think the Orioles were kind of wondering, do we try to make him a starter again or keep him in the pen where he was good? So in the Orioles' head, they traded a prospect that was blocked. And
there's so many infielders there.
And a reliever for a year of the best starting pitcher in baseball. So, yeah, tough to dislike that.
I think a lot of teams could have made that move. And Corbin Burns helps every single team.
I think the Brewers like what they got back a lot.
Sure. I mean, they have a controllable starting pitcher, like 5 years of control in him. They got a guy they think they can play the infield a little bit, possibly be their shortstop too of the future. But the Orioles taking that step. And look, they could have done more too. Their payroll is very low for a team of their caliber. I know they're banking on a lot of the young kids, the homegrown talent, all that. But this move was so dang good. And he looks good in the uniform. I was worried about that.
Okay.
I was worried about that, but he looks good.
That's good. So that was your favorite move or your underrated move?
That was my favorite move. Should I give my underrated move? Because I will.
Do it.
Whit Merrifield to the Phillies.
Okay.
When you get to, I just think when we're talking about teams on that level, we consider the Phillies, I don't know, a top 5 team in baseball. I would assume somewhere around there. Bench becomes paramount. Like, you have to have depth. And when we look around benches, a lot of times these rosters are pretty thin. But having a guy like Witt who can step in and play some outfield when need be, he can play, some middle infield if need be, even some corner. He can kind of bounce all over the place. Gives you some sort of platoon advantage against lefties. He's been better against lefties in his career. He can pinch run late in games. He can kind of like do it all. And for, 1 year, I think $8 million. That's cheap to get a quality bench piece like that for a team that, they don't have a lot of question marks. They have their lineup, the guys they want to put out there. But to have Witt as security, it's a blankie. Does James have a blankie, baby James, that he carries around?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he is like Lionel. He's like, it's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like their security blanket.
Stole it from the dog, actually.
Whit Merrifield, like a blanket. You heard it here first.
Like a blanket.
So I like that move a lot. I think it's going to help their team immensely.
I have 2 favorite moves.
Just closing on Witt. He's 35 now. He played $145 games last year. Like, hey, Whit Merrifield playing 100, 110 this year. I know a guy that just turned 35. Like, the body starts changing on you.
Those rates might.
I am 35. I forgot that. I was like, who's he talking about? And I was like, I'm 34. No, I did just turn 35. I have a favorite move that might surprise you, the listeners at home. But when we sat down to record the episode about it, it was probably the one move I was like, I fucking love this move. And it was the Royals extending their dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not a 1 year move. I know it's a little different, but I love that contract. And Jake wasn't there for the episode, but I mean, that was the most. I was like, I hope everyone does this. This is good for him. It's good for the Royals. It's good for the fans. Like, everyone, this is a 3-way win. I love that move. It's good for the future of Royals baseball. So that's my favorite move. But if you want like a more like free agent trade move,
transaction,
my favorite move, 5 years deal, 170, very funky contract. March 1st, 11:30, Snell the Yanks.
I like that. Put it
We
out
laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta be careful.
Are you guys going to break that news?
All they got to do is be like, Snell, we'll give you an opt-out after year 3. And in year 1, you're making $2 million. And in year 2, you're making 45. Or whatever
Signing
the fuck
bonus
they
too?
got to do. Just copy the Dodger shit so you don't get the, the money's different.
What are we
The
going to do to make him free?
110% tax they got to pay.
I thought I was the future guy on this show, but apparently you just stole the title from me.
Yep.
James is living in the future.
March 1st, Friday,
Okay.
11:30 p.m.
Well, news dump.
Future guy killed me. Yeah, we'll see. I'm back on the Snell's not a Yankee.
Oh, it's
train,
0%.
But when it happens, Jimmy had it first.
0%'s been loud, and it's pissed me off.
Jim, I've got good news for you.
BBD's dead. Yeah.
Okay.
It's good news.
My favorite offseason move that I'm going to take is one that I know you like a lot.
Okay.
So we can piggyback that a little bit together if people don't want to roll with the Snell
you
news.
can add it to my top 3. Well, I also did the Bobby Witt one.
A team that was pretty quiet for most of this offseason added a 25-year-old left fielder who was a top prospect that was been breaking out for free. The Atlanta Braves traded for Jared Kelenic, and they just took a couple bodies, and then they moved those bodies. The Atlanta Braves got Jared Kelenic, who kind of was putting it together last year, and then he got the injury, kind of self gave.
Yes.
What's that phrase?
Self-inflicted?
Self-inflicted. Nice, fellas. So he turns 25 in July. Excuse me. Hits free agency in 2029. Remember when you see all that Atlanta core and how long these guys are going to be together? I think Kelenic just joined the party. And it's like, oh, well, shoot, what did they have to give up? Nothing. So I think as favorite move of the offseason, the Braves bringing him in. Seattle, not traditionally a hitter's park. He'll be down in that lineup. Won't be a lot of pressure on you, kid. That's, I think, favorite move just for all those. Not too bad.
I mean, do we have a full chart of that? I mean, Marco Gonzalez, they got him from the Mariners, and then they flipped him to the Braves, and for a player to be named later, or cash.
Braves flipped him to
the Pirates. For a player to be named later or cash. So, whatever. So they just paid some money for Marco? Like, they're going to lose some money on that transaction?
Yeah.
Evan White, they paid his and just put him on waivers?
I think so.
So, in the end, you would just see the money.
A Pirate as well.
You would just see the money, right? Like, so what in the end, how much was Evan White's contract remaining?
I think he has like 15 mil over 2 years.
Okay, so that's 30 mil, and then we don't know the full Marco Gonzalez because the Pirates might be giving money back, but how much was he? Because in the end, you can just be like, they paid for Kelenic.
They bought Kelenic.
Yes.
Yeah. And Marco's getting 12.25 this year.
So 40 mil?
What was the first chunk?
You said 15 for 2.
You guys
Oh,
have
no,
lost.
15 combined.
Oh, combined. And then 12 when the Pirates might be sending some of that money back.
I would say $20 million for 5 years of Kelenic. Something like that.
In which they pay Kelenic as well.
Right.
But that's basically what they did. Cost them just money.
I like that pick. I like the fact that you tied it in with the core being there until 2030. Here, this guy is. He's going to make league minimum, and then he's going to go through some ARB. But I agree. I think it would surprise me if we didn't see some really good seasons out of Kelenic in a Braves uniform.
He's 24.
Yeah, he's got a chance to put it together. Stop hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Evan White did end up. I misspoke before and I said Pirates as well. He was flipped to the Angels for Fletcher and Stassi, and then I think Stassi was flipped again. They were doing some flips and flips and flips.
Missed that part of the offseason. Kelenic threw June 1st last year, 846 OPS. So, that'll be probably the low man on the Braves, but still not too bad.
The Braves also sent that number one prospect, Jackson Kowar and Cole Phillips. So it wasn't straight cash.
So that favorite.
Didn't they just
that
get
40
Kowar
man.
from the Royals?
Yeah.
Like right before, so that was nothing.
A lot of 40-man juggling.
And I think his stats last year were like 23 games, a 6.43 ERA.
The Braves got bored of being bored. All right, enough.
They're bored. They were bored, and they got Kelenic. My underrated one, and I think some Talking Baseball people, because I said it when it happened, and I was wondering where all the free agent contracts were going to sign. And this is a little bit, I guess, fading.
I think that could be your underrated one, too.
It could be. That's where these categories overlap a little bit. I wanted to give the Jeimer Candelario signing a little bit of love. The Reds could have easily stood pat. We had all these young guys. We're still looking for positions for a couple of them. Like, someone will figure out first base. They went out, they got Jeimer, and I think for a chunk of people last year, they were like, oh, there's a guy on the Nationals breaking out. Jeimer's been hitting. His last 4 years, he's been a 112 OPS plus, and that's with one season that kind of anchors it down. And that was part of a historically bad Detroit Tigers lineup. So the fact they went out, they got a switch hitter because they were a little righty-ish. They get another switch hitter, so that can break up the lineup. You plug in Jeimer, and it's kind of what I was saying about the Guardians. Like, if you do that one move to show, like, hey, we're in this. And they did some pitching moves too, and it's 3 years, $45 million. So it's at $15 million a year. That even if the Jeimer contract doesn't work out perfectly, that's something you move on from pretty fast. Like, remember when we all found out that Patrick Corbin was in the last year of his contract? We're like, oh shoot, that's already over. So I thought that was kind of underrated.
I like it. I like it as is. I like it even more if that means they trade some of that talent,
Right?
And go out and get a need. They did bring in some starters this offseason, but I think that's an area you can look to, or some bullpen help, just some pitching help in general, because they have a lot of guys there that you talked about that are kind of all infielders, and we're trying to find the right positions for them. And this screams to me that somebody's going to get moved. We all thought it was going to be Jonathan India. That hasn't happened yet. I could see them holding on to their depth, and then at the trade deadline, shipping a few guys out, getting what they need, because I think the Reds are going to be right there in the NL Central. So they have the pieces to improve their team. He obviously already does it statistically alone, but now if you have some guys that you can part with to upgrade different parts of your roster, then I think it becomes an even bigger win. So I do like that move. It was a little weird when they first announced it, because you're like, dude, you already have people like this on your team, but the switch hitter aspect is good, and I like it.
What'd you stumble into, Jim?
I looked at Kelenic's spring so far.
Oh, no.
Oh, it's nothing that's real. It's just fucking funny. He's gotten 5 at-bats, 5 at-bats, 5 plate appearances. Guess how many pitches he's seen total in his 5 at-bats?
Ooh.
6.
Trev?
8.
7. Split the difference.
That's crazy.
Guess how many balls he's seen?
0.
0.
Oh.
His spring training so far, very early. Usually, Trev, if I'm not mistaken, the Yankees, when I watch them, they take pitches. They want to track. They want to track. They want to get in a rhythm. They want to see it. It has gone first at bat, first pitch ground out, second at bat, swinging strike, swinging strike, swinging strike,
Nice.
strikeout. Third at bat, first pitch line out. Fourth at bat, first pitch pop out. Fifth at bat, first pitch ground out. He has swung at all 7 pitches he's seen so far in spring training, so he clearly is trying to do something.
It does. Some guys do like that. Like, I was a guy that wanted to track. Some guys like, I'm going to get my swings in right away. So I don't know if that's just coincidence that he did that, or that's his plan. But I like that. It's good research right there, James. I know when your head's down and you're on the keyboard, like, something good's going to come out, and that was good.
That's just bizarre. And funny.
Likes feeling human body craves contact. Get some wood on the bat. Let it know how
Oh,
it feels.
yeah. Don't we all crave contact?
Trev,
I got a lot of contact yesterday.
I was just gonna say we were nice to each other this episode, which probably means you got laid last night. I loved how you tied up the end of Jeimer there, because think about some of the contracts we've talked about this offseason, like Giolito getting a big boy contract. If they could turn Jeimer for a couple years, and that allows them to trade India for a pitcher or whatever, instead of having to go to free agency and paying that $22 million or whatever it could be, you can just get it for a trade transaction. So I thought that was really good analysis by you, man.
Thanks, bro. Dylan Cease to the Reds. You heard it here first.
Wow.
And the Snell signing and the Cease news.
We live in the
Wow.
future, guys.
In the year
Such a
3000.
future show.
Yeah. We do live in the future. It's true. All right.
The future's right now, and it's then.
Good episode by everyone involved. See you guys later. Enjoy the baseball. Go watch Kelenic.
Please.
Next pitcher should
Come-
roll the ball to
Come
him.
say goodbye. Come on, Kyle.
Everyone
force
tweet
his
if
hand.
he swings.
You had a live crowd behind you? Jake sucks.
I did. Had some. It's tough.
Live show?
I know how to do live.
5 of them.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yep.
What's up, boys?
What up?
Tyson.
It's nighttime by you.
What's up?
We're about to hit the slopes, guys. It was a great episode.
Bow.